I hit start recording, so let's just go ahead and start right now. And um, so, Winston, how are you doing, man?
I'm okay, I guess. Just kind of tired being on the computer all the time. I've been itching to travel for a long time.
Yeah. So, where are you now?
I'm in Taiwan with my parents.
Yeah. So, how was Taiwan?
Well, it's nice and clean and safe. It's just not. I mean, people are not very like open with strangers, so it's very hard to make friends, and unless you get involved in stuff. But I just don't really connect with people here. They're kind of very serious, like Japanese people are. You know, they're similar to the Koreans that you met before when you were in Korea, um, but I've been told Korea is a lot more extreme. But to me, Taiwanese and Koreans and Japanese, they're pretty much the same. I mean, they're just kind of like serious and grim and just just kind of inhibited and repressed. It's hard to connect with them.
Yeah. Any are you meeting any women there?
Sometimes I have a few conversations with them, like once in a while, but I mean, it's just very superficial. They're never like interested in taking it to the next level. Like they don't do anything to cement friendships. It's kind of like just very superficial. And there's not much to talk about other than very superficial stuff. Like it, how in Asia people just aren't into like really deep conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Um,
Because they're only
so
into like practical things. So
sure. But all right. Well, so where are you planning on going next after Taiwan?
maybe just Cambodia and Thailand and Vietnam or something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
But
hard to get things done because the internet gives you so many distractions and things to do that it just multiplies your to-do list, and there's just too many distractions nowadays, and if you have a lot of interests, then you get even more distracted. Like if
yeah,
you get too many hobbies and interests, if I was very narrow-minded and I had only one or two interests, then it would be easier to get everything done, you know.
sure, sure. But I would rather be in Taiwan than America. Would you? Do you feel the same way?
In some ways it's better than in America because the cost of living is lower and it's very safe and clean um and you don't have to leave tips and you can get a haircut for cheaply, but one thing I do like about America is it just has a lot of beautiful parks and nature, and national parks. That's the only thing I really like about America. And of course it has a lot of good Mexican food too, so you can get Mexican food really cheaply in America, but it's harder to get it in Asia unless you're maybe in Thailand or something. They have lots of good Mexican food there too, but yeah, but in places like Taiwan or China, I mean, it's hard to get Mexican food, so it's not. Um, that's the only thing I like about the U.S. is it has good Mexican food, good pizza, and just a lot of beautiful nature, and open land, And since I really like nature, that's important to me too. But so there's trade-offs, Um, but yeah, places like Taiwan or Japan, it's just very conformist and people aren't that open and if you're a free spirit or a free thinker, you're gonna feel like out of place because everyone's very strictly into conformity, copying each other, and so it's
I
not a
don't
place
know.
for like a
I don't
free
know.
thinker.
Well, sure, but Asia is a pretty it's a pretty awesome place. I mean, it's I would take Asia all day long over America. America is a crazy place right now. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's good things about Asia. I mean, it's not violent. It's people are humble. They don't start fights and stuff, you know.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, I mean, the worst parts of Asia are going to be like Southeast Asia or, maybe China. China's really interesting. People are more social in China than in Taiwan. I don't know why people never talk about that because the difference is very obvious. But I mean, almost no one dares to talk about it on the internet. I mean, China and Taiwan aren't the same. The people are very different. Um, I don't know if I told you this before, but I mean, Taiwan emulates Japanese culture. It doesn't emulate Chinese culture, so it's more closer to being Japanese than Chinese. So the people are not, yeah, going to be as open or social or you know than China.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, yeah, sure. So, but you should come here to Vietnam. It's pretty awesome. You know, I think you would really like the culture here.
Yeah, everyone tells me that Vietnam is awesome. It's clean, it's cheap, and is it easy to meet people there? I mean, do they make eye contact with you?
Oh yeah,
Stuff.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I
It's
had
not
a
that
Vietnam.
cliquish, or
No, no, they're pretty open. I have a lot of people. I've had strangers, say hello to me, and I met a Vietnamese guy. He invited me to go drink beer with his buddies. So they're kind of a openly social people. It's Southeast Asia. They're a little bit more open socially than other Asian countries.
okay. And when you go out, people are not afraid to make eye contact and stuff. And,
No, 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 no. They're real cheerful with each other. They're not
okay.
closed off. Yeah.
Yeah, because in places like Hong Kong and Japan and Taiwan, yeah, I mean, you don't really get eye contact with people. You know, they're kind of closed off in that sense. Especially young people. But yeah, I had a Vietnamese girlfriend in college, and I remember her family was pretty friendly and open too, you know. But I mean, they were kind of materialistic, of course, because in Asia, people live are really big on, making money and being successful. But yeah, they seem a little less cliquish than than other Asians in California.
They like to drink here. They love going out and drinking together, and you know so um,
So they're not as uptight then, right?
nah. What? So why do you think that places like Japan and Taiwan and Korea and maybe China are more uptight and more serious and focused than Southeast Asia? Why is that?
Well, I don't know. I didn't make it that way. I think it's just Confucian culture. They believe in working hard to be successful, and they like strict orderly stuff, that's like America. Things are orderly and strict, and so you don't make friends with random strangers, for instance. You only make friends with people that are vetted by your other friends. So they're very obsessed with safety and orderliness and um I guess that's good if you want for stuff like business and stuff. It's very efficient, their infrastructure. So I guess it has some good things, but I don't like it when they take things to the extreme. Because anything in extreme becomes not very good. Like you need a
Yeah,
moderation.
yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, but you need to come here to Vietnam. We can go out together. Meet some women.
Oh
Go to
yeah,
some
that would be great.
adult places. You know.
Are you adult places? You don't
Yeah.
mind saying that on the air in a public podcast? Or...
No, like and and also yeah, but yeah, you gotta get out of Taiwan, man. I think and you gotta make more videos on your channel, man. Why aren't you making more videos?
Yeah, I wish I could. I mean, I just get so distracted, like keeping up with YouTube and downloading music, and stuff, and it's just it's just hard to get around to everything. Back in the 80s and 90s, I could get everything done in one day and have a few hours left over for TV, but it's not like that anymore. It's like it's harder to get things done in one day, um but the thing is, if you're overseas, then you have less things to do, and so it's easier.
Yeah,
Um but yeah, I do want to make some videos, um
sure, sure. Um, yeah. So have you been keeping up with the news in America?
not really. I just followed like the important stuff, like the presidential campaign and Donald Trump and the Texas border crisis and stuff like that. Um, just what I see in on YouTube sometimes, and of course, in all the wars and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't follow
So
most news.
yeah. So when was the last time that you were in America?
Well, last year when I was in Las Vegas,
Oh
um,
yeah, yeah. And how was it there in Las Vegas? How
well, it's like a typical American suburb, with the strip, of course, and um, yeah, I find it really hard to meet anyone there. It just seems like nobody talks to strangers there, even on the strip. Um, but Nevada's not all the same. If you go up to Reno or Carson City, the people are more relaxed and laid back and more chill about talking to strangers. It's so even
Yeah,
in the same state, you can have a very different vibe.
yeah. People when I when I went back to America, I've been out of the country for like 6 years, so it was a total culture shock for me to go back there and see everyone. And yeah, everyone seems like so focused and like in their little like one track minds, whatever they're doing, and no one's really talking to anyone else, and there's no like, people just, you know, people don't really connect with anyone on a real level other than, money. It's basically all about money in America. So, um, and, and with inflation and rising costs, everything is just, that country is just getting, people just, you know, but yeah, I remember you made that video about living in Las Vegas that, no one talks to anyone in the suburbs in Vegas. Like no one talks to their neighbors. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's what the suburbs are like. Um, and it's kind of sad because it's not natural. I mean, people are supposed to try to connect, in Europe, you always have a town square or a fountain where people can meet and talk to each other. There's just no place in America where you can really meet and talk to other people unless, you want to go to church or something, but if you're not a Christian, then it's kind of awkward going to church just to meet people. Um, so yeah, there's not a lot of opportunities to meet people in America. It seems like everyone's just, you know, busy in their routine. It's very unnatural and strange.
Yeah, I think people really just kind of make friends around their professional life and what they do for their job, and maybe you know other things like, um, but
Oh yeah, it's all business, but
yeah, it's all
but
business.
but I do get the sense that that if you were to fit into American culture, then making friends might be more natural because some people do seem to do well there and have a good social group and they're able to find a relationship and stuff. Like some people, if they fit in, then things come more naturally to them. And did you ever think that maybe if you fit into the culture, then you would have more social connection in America?
Yeah, yeah, but uh, sure.
Because what I've noticed is if you don't fit into a culture, people put up these walls, like they don't want to connect with you or get to know you. Kind of like how cats and dogs put up a wall between each other because they just don't resonate or connect. They're not meant to be friends. So there's like this barrier between you and other people, and it's very sad. And I find that if you don't fit into a culture, then you feel that all the time. Like there's a barrier between you and others, and also when you're in a crowd, you feel more social anxiety. Have you noticed when you're in a crowd in America, you feel more drained because it's like the people exclude you and don't like you, but when you're in a crowd in Vietnam, you don't feel that energy that drains you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And what was I gonna say? It
Yeah,
feels
someone
like
should do a TED talk about that, but nobody dares to talk about it. It's like an inappropriate topic for some reason.
yeah. I mean, look, I've in 2023, I went to Colombia, I went to Peru, I went to Ecuador, and then at the end of 2023, I went to Vietnam. And I can tell you that each country has its, like when you step into one country, it's like stepping into a different reality, like a different dimension, because every country has a different culture. It has a different vibe to it. Like Colombia has a different vibe than Peru, and Vietnam has a completely different vibe, and so um, yeah, so I that is very interesting that no one talks about this, that there's you know that it's not the same everywhere, and yeah.
Yeah, people tend to like to assume that the whole world is the same, especially people who are into like alternative media and stuff. When they talk about conspiracies or the new age people, when they talk about the material world, they act like the whole world is all one thing that's all the same. And so they assume if you don't fit into America, then you don't fit into the whole world. I noticed everyone in the New Age movement makes that same fallacy. Like they don't fit into America, they don't fit into society because they're old souls or something, or free spirits. But they assume the whole world is just the same as America, so they don't fit in anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of sad because nobody likes to talk about differences between countries. It seems like a taboo subject.
Well, but you'll hear people in America say, you know, uh, New York is completely different than California, and Seattle is completely different than any other place, and Florida has its own vibe. So you will hear people make comparisons and contrasts about different places in America, though.
Oh yeah, yeah, there's differences. I think New Yorkers are more real, they don't BS as much as West Coast people do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, making real friends in America is still very hard. I mean, most people you meet just it just seems like an acquaintance, you know.
Yeah.
They don't stick with you through thick and thin like a real friend. And have you noticed most people, as soon as there's a misunderstanding, they just don't talk to you anymore or they ignore you. Just one little argument and they're done. And it's like there's no real interest.
The thing is that most people associate with people who they find valuable, and I think it's kind of there. It's not really authentic friendships. Like you and I are both friends, and we're not. And in America, it's more about friends based on mutual benefit. What kind of you know. So
Yeah, our
can
friendship is kind of like the friendships were in the 1980s, when people were friends just for the heck of it,
yeah,
not because they needed each other for something or were useful.
sure.
Yeah, it's hard to find that nowadays.
Yeah, but see, I don't have much interest in what most people are interested in America. I mean, I don't give a shit about NFL football games or baseball games or going, I don't know, going hunting or, most of the crap that people do. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, but if you're with people that you resonate with, you can do anything. You can just sit in the park and have a good time. But the residents have to be there, especially if you're like an old soul. You can sit in the park and talk for hours, do nothing, as long as you have that good connection. But it's hard to find that good connection because most people seem like empty vessels nowadays. Um, it's like, have you heard the law of entropy? It's like things get worse over time. Except for digital technology, everything gets worse over time. It's like a law of entropy or something, or second law of thermodynamics.
sure.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be something like that too. People just get worse over time. They just get more and more, zombied out or something.
Yeah, I think because everything in America is one click. Technology is making everything quicker. One click to get to order food. One click to, you know, um, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only thing that improves digital technology. But the
Yeah, so
problem is that there seems to be a lack of interest in making friends, connecting with people.
yeah,
Lack of interest. There just seems to be a lack of interest. People just aren't interested. It's not so it's not really the smartphones or the computers or something. It's just no interest. Because when you were in South America, you saw people have phones too, but they're not going to be the same as Americans. They're still a different culture.
yeah. I mean, when I was a lot more open to talking to people in South America, but another thing I want to point out is that America doesn't have a walkable culture. I mean, in a lot of places, in a lot of other countries, you can walk around a city and see hundreds of people every day. And you can only do that in a few places in America. There's not that most places in America are people are in their cars. It's all spread out. So you don't interact with a lot of people every day.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. When I went to the park in Las Vegas, there were very few people. I mean, people don't even go for a walk in the park that much. I mean, it's kind of sad. It's like they're in their cars, and then once they go to the casino, they're in the slot machines, and they don't interact with other people. They just interact with the slot machines. Or if they're in Walmart or Costco, they just shop and ignore everyone. Like it's just all business. There's no that's where you can unless you go to church, and then pretend that you're a Christian, and I mean that kind of sucks, that you have to go to a church or some type of cult to find friendly people. It's kind of odd. You should be able to just go to a park and talk to people or a town square, like in Europe or something. Of course, you can always go to meetup groups too. You can always go to meetup groups too, But the thing is, when you're in a group, you have to be very politically correct. And have you noticed, like, people just don't want to have deep conversations in America? If you do, most people get weirded out or something. They're just not comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, unless you're around like some real smart people, and you're in a group of them, and they'll start talking about some
Yeah, but
deep
not just
topics.
smart. They have to be aware too. Not just book smart.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of smart people that just repeat everything they hear on the news.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, but I don't really think America has a real authentic culture either. I mean, it's not. It's just it's just a bunch of people all kind of in a rat race. I mean, you gotta. It's not a real culture.
Yeah, and did you know America is not technically even a country because in 1871, after the Civil War, the U.S. became a corporation, and so supposedly U.S. stands for the United States Corporation. It's different from USA, which is United States of America. So USA is the country, but US is a corporation. So the America technically is a corporation, and that's why on your driver's license the your name is in capital letters because you are supposedly a corporate entity, just like America. So everything is so America is just a business. It's not a place to be happy or free or to have fun or something. You know, have you noticed in America, it's like it's really hard to have fun unless you have a really good social clique because it's like all the fun you see in America is on a television screen or movie screen. You don't get to experience fun in real life.
Yeah.
When you're in other countries, you can experience real fun and have more experiences, real experiences, while you're traveling and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like it's more organic, when you're traveling. You have more real life experiences that you can touch and feel. you know? Whereas in America, it's like everyone's closed off. You can only experience reality through a screen or something. It's kind of very, very unnatural and kind of depressing too.
Yeah. Sure. And yeah, there's just so many things that kind of hold like obstacles in America that that kind of just hold you back and just kind of keep you kind of like anchored down where you can't really you feel like you can't really do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't feel free for some reason. It doesn't feel free, even though it says it's free.
Yeah, I know. Well, the one thing that I hate is that in most places you got to have a car. You have to have a vehicle. I love places where you can just use, you can walk or you can use, some easy public transportation, or like that's why I love Bangkok. I mean, you can
Oh
just drive.
yeah,
You can just kind
yeah.
of
In
drive.
Bangkok, you can go anywhere there. There's so much public transportation.
Yeah, and yeah, but there's just so many things that hold you back in America, like First of all, the cost is inflation, and like housing cost is enormous. It's very hard to own your own place, and also you gotta pay for a vehicle, you gotta pay for car insurance, you gotta pay like a huge cell phone bill. Cell phone and a SIM card in Vietnam is like $5, for a month of data, and and also the police in America are way overbearing. And you know,
Yeah, but
it's
in Asia, the police never bother you. I mean, they never talk to me at all. In Asia, the police, I mean, they look. I mean, they don't seem like they bother anyone.
yeah,
But I mean, policemen don't usually bother me because
I can't hear you.
oh, there's some weird background noise there. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just
Uh,
saying that the police don't even in America the police don't bother me anyways because when you're an Asian guy and you look nice, you don't look like a troublemaker, so they don't pay any attention to me.
yeah. Um,
But I mean, to be free, I mean, it's to be able to do what you want, and not feel all these obstacles or barriers in the way.
yeah. This is. I guess. Do you see yourself ever living in America ever again?
I don't know, not really. Um, I do like the small towns in America. They can be pretty friendly sometimes, except for the small towns in California. They're not as friendly, but the small towns in the Southwest are, and in Oregon and Washington, they're a little friendly, but they're still kind of cliquish. Um, but yeah, small towns in the Midwest and Southwest can be pretty friendly. It's just that it's still hard to find women to date in those small towns. It's like everyone seems to be taken. And American women are also very, very picky too. So even if they're not taken, they're still super picky. And so if you don't meet their standards, if you're still out of the dating game. You're not in the game. You don't have choices.
Yeah. It's and the thing is that there are so many complaints about the women in America, not just from us. You look on YouTube, Passport Bros. You've got the Red Pill movement. You've got all these. I keep seeing all these things pop up in my YouTube feed about like you know look at these American women complaining they can't find a good man. You know they're and like they'll ask the man to pay for like a real expensive dinner, and they're just asking, they can't find a man and all this stuff. So it's not just complaints from us. There's so many complaints from, and I guess women are complaining about the men and men are complaining about the women in America. It's a mess in America about the dating situation.
Yeah, it just seems really off and unnatural. Like, why can't dating be simple and straightforward like it is in the 80s? It was in the 80s. Um, but it seems like men and women are conditioned to be in conflict all the time. And I talked to some American women too that are friends of mine, and they seem to be in a different reality bubble. They claim every guy they know, is selfish and treats them bad and just wants sex. But the thing is, I don't know any guy that's like that just wants to take and never give. I mean, every guy I know is overly nice to women. I don't see why they think that every guy they know treats them bad and just wants sex and doesn't want anything else and doesn't it is only a taker. Every guy I know is pretty nice and is a giver. They seem to put women on a pedestal. I don't see why they don't see that. It's almost like they're in a different reality bubble. It's almost like the Matrix has split into two different realities for us and them. It's very strange. Have you noticed that? Like the women seem to be in a different reality than us.
They definitely, you know, in a different reality. Well, they women seem to love the empowerment that America gives them. They enjoy the entitlement that they're given in America. They love what feminism has done for them. That they can own their own homes. They can own their own, have their own careers, and they want independence. Whereas, here in Vietnam, the women want to be with the man just because they want a relationship with the man. They want that unity, that partnership. You know, I mean, this has been discussed over and over and over again. We already know for a fact that women are better outside of America. We just know that because we it's not just us. There's multiple, you know, everyone is saying that, you know.
Yeah, I've been saying that since like 2002, and back then people were afraid to say that. But yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's like the dating thing is more natural in other countries. Um, at least not every country, but a lot of countries it is. Um, because women and men are supposed to need each other. I don't know why in America there's a divide or a split, like a conflict. It's like there's some type of barrier or something. It shouldn't be that complicated.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you noticed that? It seems like there's a barrier between you and women in America. Like you just can't come together for something. It's almost like there's a force field that holds you apart, unless you really fit into the culture or something.
Yeah, no, I know but I don't think it's anything wrong with us. Like it's not anything that we're not we're there's nothing wrong with you or me, because we know that for a fact, because when we go to other countries, that we get along with the people normally, and we get along with the women, and women want to have relationships with us. So it can't be anything wrong with us. It's got to be something wrong with the women there, man.
I know, but they claim that they can't. There aren't any good guys, and that every guy's an asshole. It's like they're in a different reality bubble. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're dishonest or they're delusional or they're just in a different dimension, or if the Matrix plays some type of trick on people. Because a lot
It's
of this doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
it's
It's
it's,
it's
it's
almost like
because it's because in America the women, their standards are way too high. Their expectations are way too high. They
well, yeah,
demand.
they deny that too. They deny that they always say their standards are low, are not that high. I mean,
Uh,
they
I
never admit that.
I was basically an incel in America. I was an incel in my 20s. I basically had no sex in my 20s. I had some sex, but
Yeah.
but
But most guys won't admit this. They'll just say, "Oh, they're choosing to be single or something." Most guys don't want to admit if they're incels.
yeah.
Have you noticed that most guys will just say, "Oh, I'm choosing to be single and working on myself or something,"
Yeah, no. But
or they'll tell you they're getting laid all the time, but they have no evidence to prove it.
yeah, did you read that statistic, or it said some shit about that in in 5 or 10 years, like 50% of women in America will be single, or like they won't be in relationships. It was something like that. It was that there's some statistic that's saying that more and more people are going to be single, and there's going to be much or they're choosing to be single or something like that. I can't.
Yeah, I saw that on some YouTube video before, but I mean, I didn't look at it, because either way, I mean, for me, it's just a no, no. I'm not even in the dating game in America, so it's just a moot point. Even in the 1990s, I had a hard time getting any dates at all. There just
Yeah,
seems to be this wall between me and them. And it shouldn't be like that. It's kind of strange.
yeah. I don't know, but anyway, it, this
Are
is a
are
real.
mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are most did I mean do most guys in your hometown, I mean, do they get dates or are they married or single or do they just not even talk about it?
Well, I know some guys uh, that are married now, but I mean, we're in late 30s now, so they've had a lot of time to find a partner. I don't know about their 20s though, but yeah, I do know some people that are married.
Yeah. But a lot of it, it's not like you go into a store and just pick whatever you want. A lot of it seems to be sort of like a destiny or a script, like if you're meant to have somebody there, then it happens naturally. But it's not something you can just force or choose. Like if you were meant to stay in Tennessee or something and raise a family, then you might find somebody and do that with, but it's just not your life path. Your life path might be to be an expat. And so think the circumstances will arrange that to happen.
Yeah, what did is that what Quantum of Conscience says, that everyone is on a script, like everyone is an actor or something? What does he say about that?
Oh no, he said that reality is sort of on a script. Um, like the news and the world events and stuff and possibly most people are because most people just seem to go on autopilot all day. They don't stop and wonder what's going on or think, especially in a big city. So it seems like most people just operate on the script. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can see a certain order in the universe, like in your DNA and the universe, and and um, I mean, the world seems to have a certain order and a structure. So it does sort of seem to be on the script, and because there's a lot of synchronicities and stuff, reality seems to be on some type of script too. So, um, so yeah, I don't know if we really have free will or not. I think we sort of do, but just because some of us have free will doesn't mean everybody does. It seems like most people are just on autopilot all the time, and they go by their instincts and social programming. Um, So yeah, I think that if you were you would have to be very aware to have some type of free will. Otherwise, you just follow the crowd and go with the flow like everyone else. Um, but yeah, there does seem to be a script to a certain extent. Like for example, if you ask your parents or ask a typical happy, stable married couple, they'll tell you that the reason they got married was not because of looks or money or personality, but because it just felt right. Um, so there does seem to be like a script or a resonance or a meant to be kind of like a, and that's why you have a lot of synchronicities too in life and in history.
Sure.
So but yeah, it's hard to say whether most people have any free will or not. Just seems like
I'm having trouble hearing you.
oh, I mean, it's hard to say whether most people have free will or not, and I'm just saying it's hard to say. But yeah, I think a lot of life does seem to be scripted, and your choice. You might have choices in life, but it seems to be in a narrow spectrum. Like we can't just be whatever we want. We have to work with the spectrum of what we have. Like for example, you can't just be you can't just be an NFL quarterback if you want. It's just out of range for your possibility. You can only work with the spectrum that you have.
Right.
But yeah, location matters. People don't talk about that enough. And location matters. Everyone thinks self improvement is all about changing yourself and changing your beliefs. They don't talk about changing locations.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally true. So while we're on the subject of location, by the way, it's 1:38 a.m. my time. That's why I'm kind of talking a little bit slow. I'm kind of tired. But I wanted to ask you, Winston, what are the places in the world, the countries that you've been to where you feel like you're the happiest and most alive?
Oh gosh, it's hard to say. I mean, I was very happy in the Philippines for many years, but it's just gotten worse over the years. And the women there are kind of spoiled now. So it's harder and harder to find a good woman there. So if you're planning to go there, I mean, you better do it soon because that that spoiled toxic personality in America, it's spreading to different countries. You know, I,
And,
I
and
even I even heard that Korea back in the 1960s and 70s, Korea used to be a dating hotspot for men. So it's totally changed.
yeah, and do they speak fluent English in the Philippines?
Um, yeah, but it's just very simple English. It's not. They don't know more complicated words. It's just very basic. But the thing is, um, I mean, the English they know is simple, but the thing is, they can't think abstractly. They're like, if you ask why is it like this, they can't give you a reason why something is like that. It just is. To them, something it just is, and they can't give you a reason why it is. So people don't like to think abstractly.
Like, well, if you ask me why are things like this in America, I'd be like, because we're in this fucking matrix. That's why it is. This is just a matrix, like Andrew Tate says. But keep going.
Yeah. So I mean, people there, are simple. They don't like to answer questions that require them to think or abstract or theorize. Well, yeah, why or that. But yeah, I mean, Western people are more into that. Trying to abstract things and stuff. But in Asia, people tend to keep it simple and practical.
I don't know when I if you were to speak with people in America about some of the stuff we're talking about, differences in countries and cultures and women and feeling more alive and more free, most people would in America would just look at us like what are you talking about? Like and
Oh
then
yeah, they would blank you out. But the thing is, if you ask them, why are prices higher now, they'll give you some reason, like the war or the Federal Reserve spending or something. Like in America, if you ask something like that, they'll give you a reason, like if you say why are generic products cheaper than branded products, they'll give you some practical reason. But if you ask that in the Philippines, they don't like to give you explanations for things.
yep. Um sure. So the Philippines, are there any other countries that you'd love to go to?
Oh yeah, I mean, Yeah, I think I felt the most alive in Europe and
Europe.
maybe in Russia too. But in Russia, I mean, it's just not as safe as in Europe or in Asia. The people there can be more violent. Um, so I mean, it's a little more wild there, but I think Europe is the best fit for me because people there are old souls like me. And in Asia, people tend to be young souls. You know, they tend to be focused on success and making money,
Yeah.
and which is something young soul, just like America. You know, America's a young souled country too. Um, so yeah, I mean, you can find more old souls in Europe and maybe in South America and Mexico too. Um, you know, and I like the architecture and the culture in Europe. You know, but the only problem is most white women are not attracted to Asian men, so it's harder for me to find someone to date. But the good thing about Europe is that women will hang out with you even if they're not attracted to you. You know, they're just more friendly and warm. They're just more friendly and social in that sense, you know, like a lot of girls will show you around and take you to see their city and to see take you to a museum or something, you know, even if they're not into you, you know, whereas in America it's all or nothing. If a woman's not attracted to you, usually they won't even hang out in America. It's all or nothing. So um, that's one good thing about Europe, you know, besides the culture, you know, and the women are more down to earth too. They're not as airheadish as in America. So that's the problem in America. Even in the 80s, you know, the girls were kind of airheadish, so I never could really connect with them, you know, because I'm not an airhead. So it seems like if you're really down to earth, or you're an old soul, you're really not going to fit into America. It's going to be very awkward. You know, it's just not the place. Yes, and it seems like women in America don't really like guys that are really down to earth. Have you noticed that? If you're really down to earth and authentic, you know, women just don't like you in America.
Yeah, it's like you gotta be a. It's like you gotta be a, 6 foot tall, millionaire in America for women to want you or like you.
Yeah, or be an airhead guy. You know, they want a guy that makes them feel like they're smarter than he is too. I mean, you don't have to be a millionaire. You just have to be their type. You know. I don't know what their type is, you know, because I've never been their type. So, um,
Yeah, yeah. But
so how's your relationship? I mean, you have a girlfriend in Asia or something, right? Or
yeah, I do. I have a girlfriend here right now in Vietnam, and it's going pretty good. You know,
oh,
I'm
well, is
thinking
she really
about.
sweet and humble and appreciative and stuff?
Oh yeah, she really is. She comes over, like, she makes tea, and we I've met her family, and you know we've she wants to travel with me to Thailand, and she's talking about getting married, and so yeah, for guys that don't fit in America like us, there's a lot of hope. You know, Asia, South America, Europe. So, yeah, we
What
can
what what
definitely.
about what about those countries north of you, like Burma or Laos? I mean, um, are they pretty good too, or have you
I
tried to travel there?
um I was in Burma. It was kind of. I went to Myanmar. Myanmar. It was kind of run down. I didn't like it at all. I've never been to Laos. I crossed the border into Cambodia, and it was kind of rough. Uh, but
Oh yeah, Cambodia is really primitive unless you go to the capital city or to Siem Reap. The capital city is Phnom Penh. If you go there or Siem Reap, then you see some nice civilization. But it's very relaxed. It has a really nice Buddhist vibe in Cambodia. I mean,
Yeah,
it feels very tranquil, that Buddhist vibe.
yeah. There's a lot of countries: Malaysia, Indonesia. Let's see, Japan. Um, what are some other places? Uh, some people will go to India, China. So
Yeah,
there's some.
China's really interesting. It's like a whole different world, like a different dimension. I mean, it's really interesting, and it's not as bad as what the media says either. I mean, you almost never see any policemen there. I mean, nobody tells you what to do or bothers you, but I'm speaking from the standpoint of a tourist there. If you were to live there, maybe you would see a dark side that you don't usually see as a tourist. But yeah, if you're just traveling, it looks great. I mean, it's clean and safe, and um, it's like you said, you can go anywhere without a car. It's clean, it's safe. There's no bad neighborhoods. There's no violence. And the U.S. media never tells you that. They always demonize China and tell you how unfree it is, but I never felt unfree there at all. I mean, I don't know what everyone's talking about.
So where did you go in China?
Just to the southern cities around Hong Kong, like Shenzhen and Guangzhou, and then I went to central China, like Chengdu and stuff, and a few smaller cities like Dongguan and stuff. So I've only been to several cities there, and I spent maybe 12 months or so. Um, and so yeah, it's a really nice place. It's just that people are more are people are busy all the time. They're working a lot and they're busy all the time. So it's not like a place where people party a lot, like South America. Um, so and the girls, some girls can be pretty friendly, but some are uptight. But the thing is, a girl has to really like you a lot in order to make time to spend with you. Otherwise, they're going to be focused on their own thing. So
I remember you showed me a lot of photos with you and Chinese women.
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean it's easy to talk to them and have a casual conversation for a while, but I only had like a relationship with two of those women anyways. So a lot of them, I was just talking and flirting with, but Chinese culture is not as uptight as the culture in Taiwan or Japan. I mean, you can flirt a little bit and it's okay, they're not as uptight about that stuff. Um, but
How did you go? Do you speak Chinese?
yeah, just basics.
Oh, okay.
Um, But you can always use, yeah, a translator on your phone or something.
Translator.
But yeah, I mean, it's very clean and safe, and you don't need a car, and you don't have to tip in restaurants, and the hotels are very generous. They let you check out at 3 p.m., not 11 a.m. like they do in America or Taiwan. Where they're more uptight about everything.
Yeah, yeah. It's um sure. I gotta check out China. I've never been there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a visa there unless you're a Taiwanese citizen or something. Then they give you a free visa, but yeah, it's hard to get a visa. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not for everybody. Some people resonate with it, but some don't. Not every guy will have the same experience. I mean, some guys do well in Japan too. But not every guy. It depends on how well you resonate with that culture.
Yep. Um. Let's see here.
Have you been to
So
North Vietnam? Is it any different, or is it friendly or less friendly? Or
yeah, I've asked a few Vietnamese people. They tell me that Hanoi is a lot different than south of Vietnam, basically because like it's slightly different. Um, just
is it more like communist or something?
uh, they speak the language a little bit differently, and I think it had something to do with the war, in the Vietnam War when they had some division, but
Isn't
yeah.
Vietnam a communist country? I mean,
Well, yes, it is. It is. But I mean,
okay.
I'm literally telling you that I feel very free here. I mean, it's people are very happy here. Um, like I said, like they're kind of cheerful and they smile a lot, and so
Yeah, it seems like communist countries have more social connection. Americans never talk about that for some reason.
yeah, yeah, I know. Um, yeah, that is interesting. That's an interesting point.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, a lot of conservatives in America they claim the Democrats and the liberals are communists, but if that's so, then how come America doesn't have the social connection that other communist countries have? And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's just a label or something.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. Well,
Yeah, if you're tired, you should have done this earlier or something.
I know, I know. Uh, I don't know. Anything that you wanted to talk about?
Oh gosh, not really. We could talk about a lot of stuff. I
Uh,
mean, did you
so
want to go into stuff about religion again, or the reality, or? But I don't know.
uh,
Those are really abstract topics.
no, um, yeah,
Maybe
but
we should talk about that in the afternoon or something when you're more clear-headed.
yeah, I know it's getting late here. It's 2 a.m. But Winston, I was gonna ask you to like you should put out more videos or do more interviews with people, in podcasts.
Oh yeah, why don't we do one with Tommy Tan, the man? I mean, did he
Yeah,
ever
and
climb any or meet any
and a
girls?
lot,
Huh.
sure, and maybe like uh and rock and maybe some other people on YouTube.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you've interviewed a few other guys too. Maybe you could contact them. You could have a panel. Do you want to do one of those things where everyone shows their faces in a little window? I mean, that's the way everyone's doing them nowadays, is to have their face in a window.
Yeah, but uh, um and you could, I think there's some people on your forum that you could interview.
Oh, a lot of the forum guys are very private. They don't really want to, but we could try. I mean, um, you can contact them and see. But yeah, we should get Tommy. We've been talking about interviewing him and maybe High too,
Sure.
if
I
he's up
mean,
to it. And yeah, I have a friend named Mitchell on the East Coast that likes to be interviewed, but the thing is, he hasn't been abroad really, so he's not going to have much to say about that. but he likes to talk about the social disconnection in America.
Yeah, but yeah, Winston, you definitely need to. Hopefully, you can meet me here in Vietnam, and we can go out to some places and meet some women. You know,
Oh yeah, the women look so attractive there and so feminine and skinny.
they
There's,
are
there's no fat
the
people there.
uh,
When you
no,
walk
they're
around everywhere, you get more exercise, right? When you're walking around everywhere all over the city and taking the subway. I mean, is there a subway there?
no, it's not a subway, but it's very easy to get around. Like everyone drives a little motorbike, and you know, no one really drives. There's a few people that drive cars, but
Oh, is
it's
there a
just
Juki or a tuk tuk or?
no, they don't have that, but they have Grab. You know, the it's like Uber, but like it's you just kind of
Oh yeah, yeah, I know that. They have that in the U.S. too.
yeah, but
Oh, so you can
here
sit in a
like
nice, comfortable car for a few dollars or something, right?
yeah, you can do car or you can do motorbike. So you just hop on a Grab
Oh,
motorbike.
yeah, I think a car would be better. A motorcycle is going to be more dangerous, right? I mean, if you were to crash, you would be injured.
Yeah, but they're pretty safe with the traffic here to be honest. Um, but I really think that you would like it here. So it,
Can
yeah,
you start up a conversation with a girl in the supermarket or the park or something? Or
I I do I do I try to memorize some phrases, but this language the language barrier for me is kind of blocking me from talking with the women. But
well,
the women are very friendly here. So even if you don't speak the language,
yeah, I would imagine if you talk to college girls, they can speak some English,
oh yeah, they can.
or in the big
They can.
city. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Do they speak Chinese or?
no, they don't speak Chinese. They um but anyway, um
Okay, if you're tired, yeah, yeah, why don't we just do this tomorrow or something, or another time, and um, if you're more awake or something.
sure. And yeah, you gotta get back in contact with Rock because he's been out of touch. We gotta know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe you can contact him too and see where he went off to.
I
Maybe
thought
he has
you
some personal problems or something. I don't know.
I thought you and him were real good friends and maintained like some contact.
Well, yeah, we usually are, but I mean, he has a very secretive side, and you know, and so he never shows you, everything about him. So, um,
You don't know his real name.
well, I know his real name, but it's very generic, but he's very secretive. I don't know, you know, if he has a double life or not. I mean, um, yeah, I know his real name, but it's really generic, and I mean, if you Google it, you're not going to find anything. So, um,
Uh,
but yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe he has some personal problems, or I don't know. I mean, he's, you know, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could contact him sometime and see if he'll reply or something.
sure, sure. All right, Winston. Well, I'm about to fall asleep here, so I don't know if I'm gonna put this on my YouTube channel. I don't think it's good enough, but um, anyway, I
Okay.
really appreciate I appreciate you calling me and having this conversation. So hopefully we can meet again in Asia, and maybe we'll meet here in Vietnam or somewhere else, Philippines.
Yeah, yeah, I would love that. I mean, sounds like I would like it there.
Yeah. No, no, you definitely would. I think you would really like how beautiful the women are here. So, so hopefully that gives you some incentive to come over. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, always it does.
All right. Okay, Winston. Well, I'll talk to you later, I guess.
Okay, just look it over and see if you like the podcast or not. I mean, if you put it up on your channel, there's nothing to lose. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. My voice may sound like kind of like I'm slow and stupid, but anyway, I will. I'll
right.
talk to
Well,
you later.
just talk to me in the afternoon or something. Maybe you'll be more passionate.
Okay. All right. All right, man.
All right. Well, have a good night then.
All right. I'll talk to you later. All right. Bye.
Okay. Good night. Bye bye.